All right. Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning, and if you're awake, hopefully you can enjoy some coffee. If not coffee, something else refreshing. I have a really great guest here, and I think he needs no introduction, but I'm going to say it anyways. This is my neighbor. This is Beto, Niner Sickness. He has a lot of great content that he puts out. He's got a Facebook channel, Twitter account. This guy's everywhere, and he supports everyone. And look, we got him here today. So, Beto, good morning. How are you doing today? And what's going on, man?
Thank you for having me, brother. It's a pleasure coming on your show. I'm not a early morning guy. Decided to stay up so that I can just show you some love and some support. I'm excited. Training camp's 10 days away. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this year. Looking forward for a great year, man. So let's do it.
All right. Well, let's get into that. Are you going to be going to training camp?
Yes, I'm going to try. I think the tickets are sold out though.
I'm going to try as well.
What?
Hmm. I haven't heard that yet.
Hey.
I heard tickets were cheap, and
They're
I'll have to
$10
get
a
on that
ticket.
right away. But I'd like to go.
Good morning, Corey.
Good morning,
Good
Corey.
morning, Nine. I was surprised to see you this morning. It's like, what?
I haven't slept yet. I'm still up from last night, so I'll probably go to bed after this. I've been up all night watching benching on Hulu.
I just woke up, just like, oh, boys, I got to get up and go to Ryan Cup this morning.
Ryan Cup?
Well, we got a lot of good people in the chat. We got 49ers Ultimate Report. We have a wolf sighting. Look
What's
at
up,
that.
John Gray?
Shout out to Wolf.
Wolf.
Wolf's my boy.
Woo, woo, woo.
Oh!
We got Damien.
Yo, Damien. Hugo.
That's right. Oh boy, where did I go? Oh boy, it's one of those mornings. Sorry, guys. We have Bebop, TRL, and we got a lot of great people. So if I get to go to training camp this year, I'm gonna try to hit one of the weekends. I think the best day for me is the 30th, or it's gonna be the 5th, and I'd like to try to go one of those days when everybody's there. Trying to hit the 30th because I think we're going to have a lot of people from the East Coast there, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to get on the internet. I'm going to see if the tickets are still available because when it was in Stockton, it was really fun to go to, and I just I don't know.
The
If you haven't been
30th
to
of
training
August,
camp
right?
yet, it's a lot of fun. Yes. Actually, no, the 30th of July and the 5th of August. And then training camp, the last day that we can attend as fans. I'm going to try to go Saturday. I'm going to try to go Sunday the 30th.
Sunday
the 30th of July. Yeah.
I'm
going to try to go that day because I don't have.
If you find a ticket available when you do it, get me one and let me know and I'll send it to you quick on Cash App. If you find a ticket, like if you get tickets, give me one, and then if you get me one for that day, I'll immediately Cash App or Venmo it to you, the $10, and then we can go together.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, not together if you don't want to, but we can meet up, whatever.
Well, I'll hold your hand if you smile, but you can't tell anybody. That's just one of those things.
I don't know about the going together, stuff, bro.
I'd always walk. We walk with my brother to the store or something like that. My little brother, he's a little guy, but he's like 13, 14 years old. I walk up and grab his hand, and he'd like pull away. I'm like, hey, I'm just messing with you, just get him to.
Yeah, that's not going to work for me,
get
bro.
A little reaction out of the guy,
You're going to get a little bit more than just pulling away.
You
get like a slap in the face.
We don't want to pull and tug. So Deanna, my wife's aunt, she goes to games all the time, and she says tickets go on sale this Monday. So maybe they're not sold out yet.
They go on
But we'll
sale. I
find
wonder,
out.
I wonder they're not available because they're not. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
that'd
know
be
that.
really cool.
Good morning,
We got
Ty,
platform.
What's up?
Lawrence, Bebop. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Your beautiful wife is here as well. I see on the chat.
Oh yeah. So again, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Look what my
Now,
wife
did you
bought
make
me.
that cup better, or did your wife make it?
My wife
That's
bought it for
cool.
me.
That's really cool.
Yes. She blessed me, surprised me last year.
That is cool. I'm gonna bring in another guest.
Beto.
I've
What
been
the
up.
hell do you do?
I've still been up since the last night, bro. I haven't slept.
That's the only way I see you being here right now. Holy
Yep.
shit, you finally made it.
Yep. I told Brian I had to do it once. Now I can die peacefully after the show, and
Right?
I'll be good.
All your stuff has been fulfilled.
I fulfill my bucket.
Right?
That's right.
This one's better,
That's
bro.
right.
Check it out.
I don't have
Ryan.
mine.
Yeah. Is that crooked?
No,
Oh, okay.
my hand was crooked, maybe, but
It looked like the Niner sickness part was crooked with the logo from the angle I saw originally.
no.
If you had
My wife bought it for me last year. That thing would have went back quick. If that was
Yeah,
the case.
Tony. She makes cups, and she made me this one. I always drink out of it. It says "Faithful" on the back of it, and
She
really
makes
love
cups.
it.
I think she made this
Yeah.
one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she made one when we went too. I don't have it with me right now.
I feel left
I
out,
guess.
Tony.
You see this?
Well,
The one that says no brains.
Yes.
yeah. A lot of the guys that come on the show for Saturday mornings and stuff, I thought it was really cool to try to make sure that they got a coffee cup. And again, Beto, don't make this your last time. But if you keep coming on, maybe we'll get you a coffee cup. No promises. You don't want to hold my hand. I get it, but that's all right.
Yeah. No. Most likely, I'm not getting
But
a
yeah,
cup, bro. Yeah, I'm not pulling this every Saturday.
Well, again, appreciate you coming on. So the topic was, basically training camp, and we're going to get into a little bit of the Robbie Gould conversation, and let's talk about the 4 finalists for the Hall of Fame.
Robbie
So we
who?
got 4 guys right now. Robbie Gould.
We talked about
So
him.
we got 4 guys.
Are we going to talk about kickers, bro?
Well, it's kind of a kickstart of the morning. I kind of like it. So one of those things is Robbie Gould. A couple of months ago, when the season had ended, I was really like hammering hard. I thought he was going to come back to the team because he said we had unfinished business. I thought he was like, whatever the Niners want, we're making a run at it this year. Well, apparently now he's come out and said that the Niners didn't offer him anything, offer him a contract, or get in contact with him at all. But before this report came out, I've heard multiple reports say that he gave the blessing to draft Jake Moody. He trained with Jake Moody. He was okay with the Niners moving off of him. So it sounds like there's a lot of stories. What's your thoughts, Beto?
About Robbie Gould?
Yeah.
Do I have to answer? I don't know.
You can point. It's okay.
Hold on. Beto, why don't you think that the 49ers didn't offer Robbie Gould another contract?
Because
That's, I think, is the big question here to kind of unwrap everything else.
the money. It was just the money that he was going to get paid. It was just too much for. Even though he's a very good kicker and very dependable in the playoffs, it was just too much money. He's older, and the Niners just wanted to go a different direction. And the opportunity to get Jake Moody presented itself. I think if they wouldn't have gotten him, I think if Gonzalez wouldn't have worked out, they probably would have extended an olive branch towards Robbie Gould and go from there. But since they drafted a replaceable kicker, they're ready to move on and save some money in that area. So it's all money game.
I don't think it's about the money. Because right now we've got enough money to sign Robbie Gould and another $3 million player. I think it was injuries. He was going to get injured at least once a year. He was going to pull something was going to be right. He wasn't going to be able to play. And then they were going to have to get a new guy in there. I think then that's what got them started to look around.
Okay.
And then once they seen the talent in this draft class, they were like, we can make a move off of Robbie, I think. You know what I mean? And then I think they just, because Robbie was talking about coming back, right? And then he said, I'm not coming back to San Francisco. To me, I was like, what's your deal, bro? Like, I thought it was all on Robbie's end. No, Robbie was just explaining to us what was going on with the team and how they hadn't reached out to the agent. They weren't interested in it. The agent probably called up the Niners like, hey, we're going to do a deal. And the 49ers are like, no, we're going to let Robbie go wherever he wants so he doesn't have to be in a hotel room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're going to kick that idea away.
Yeah. I think it was really started to be because of the injuries.
That makes sense.
Got them looking. And then they seen the talent. And they were like, this is the best time.
That does make sense. He is up there in age. Pulling little hammies here, pulling little, the achy bones here and there do come into play. I don't care how good of a player, no matter what position you play in, if you're not available, you're no asset to the team. So they win younger and cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were gonna come to this bridge in the next couple of years anyways. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Make it on your terms with the best options available. I think, it. Yeah.
Let's bring our next guest in, and then we'll have Corey touch on this.
Oh.
Buenos dias, Senor David.
Morning, fellas.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm
Morning,
just
David.
dragging out of bed. I was like, I woke up. I looked at the time. I was like, oh man.
Just do what I did, bro. I've been up since last night. Why even go to bed?
Oh wow.
Why even go to bed, brother? Just stay up. And we're all good to go.
So,
5 minutes
Corey,
later.
what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Robbie Gould situation? Did we not re-sign him because of the money? Did we not re-sign him because of the age? Or is there multiple reasons? What are your thoughts?
I think it was what 96 is in. No more to say it. I think they're right. It could be both, money wise, and yes, the man's getting old. And it starts showing on the field, They probably also want to go younger because not with the new rules. Never mind that talk. Probably want the ball to reach sometimes in the end zone. So they felt like it's the best time to go. It's the best time right now to look for a new kicker. Because he is getting up in age and he was injured. And these days, you can't keep a kicker, in the background and why this one get old, When you get a new kicker, the other one gotta go. You can't do like putting a quarter like you do a quarterback or running back, put them have a backup on the team. You have to let the kicker go.
All right. Well, I like it. Sometimes, you have a good player, and they want a little bit more money. And yeah, you could pay him potentially. But what happens if you pay him and then that season doesn't work out? And we could have used that money again for somebody extra, or somebody maybe a little younger, a little bit more special. I think everybody touched on it. He's been injured in the past. He's not afraid to tackle, but we really don't want him tackling at his age. Maybe when he was a little younger, it would have been a little bit fine. But him getting injured and not being able to finish kickoffs and having to give it to our punter, who then our punter, Mitch Wisnowski, gets hurt. And now we're looking for a field goal kicker in midseason. Punter. It's happened. I don't think it's the best idea. But, again, I don't want a football player out there on the field that's afraid to tackle. But with his age, I think that was a concern. And maybe the Niners, maybe the whole league knew that this kickoff rule was coming into play before the whole contract situation got into. And maybe they thought, hey, if this guy really can't put it into the end zone, maybe this isn't going to really work out for us because maybe it's just that time. So, shout out to Robbie Gould. I hope he goes anywhere but the Cowboys. Anywhere but the Cowboys. And,
they don't need a kicker, so they're fine.
I got a question for the chat. We brought this up last night, and it was said that the panel pretty much thought that if Robbie Gould hung up the kicking shoes today, he would probably be one of the best special team coaches in the league. So I'd like to see what people would rank him. They think they would rank him out the gate as a special teams coach.
So for me, that's kind of really hard to say because you can go out and do a really good job, but you might not be a very good trainer. Some people don't want to train. Some people are good at training, or they think they're good at training, and they're not. So I would have to see him train somebody first before I could say, yeah, he can do it. Some people they think they have it and they don't. They have all the talent, but they can't show somebody how to do it. So that would be my thoughts. I'd like to see him go into coaching. That would probably be a good career for him.
Well,
I think he's a natural athlete.
I think he.
What's that?
You say.
Let him talk, man.
Corey, what's that?
Oh, I think like you say, he train him. With a little bit with Robbie Gould, Jay Moody. So that might be his future. Training kickers, field goal kickers. If he went to Robbie Gould and train him, Robbie Gould went to Jake Moody and train him.
I think he wants to play golf for a while.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. A lot of players, they like going to golf right after that. It's a very competitive sport. It's got to be on it, and you can put your heart into it and still not be good at it. But maybe
I don't think professionally. I think he just wants to do it as a hobby.
Because I always see him in those PGA tours with the players and stuff. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I agree, Deanna. Sometimes good players don't necessarily translate to good coaches. But Corey, and I've touched on this too, Robbie Gould did go and train with Jake Moody. I don't know how extensive he did. Maybe he showed him some tricks. I don't know how long they did it, but they've definitely met up. They've kicked together. So if he can go into the future and turn into a coach, that's be really cool. If he's just somebody that just goes in and gives somebody, like tips here and there, and he's not a full-time trainer, I could see that happening too. But I definitely see him having a career later on. I think that would be really interesting. Shout out to Bebop. Maybe more people should go play this sport. If you haven't, it's a lot of fun.
Disc golf?
Yep. Yeah. A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet that you'd probably like it.
I don't know what it is.
It's like frisbee golf. So you have these different types of, not the frisbee that you think of traditionally. It's just more of like a disc. And they've got different weights, and they can kind of create different curves and this and that. And you do this around trees. They kind of got golf courses. And then there's just a pole at the end that's got like a ring around it with chain links, and you throw the disc into that and it gets caught. That's how you get your, so it's just throwing yeah. And it's always like, what's cool about it is like you're out in the trees and nature, and it's just it's always beautiful. You know what I mean? When it's out there, it's a nice day. It's just beautiful. So you'd probably like it.
I'll have to look it up on YouTube, man. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, I got a couple friends here in Stockton that play it, and they've been playing it for a long time, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
It's been
So,
building steam the last decade, I'd say. I don't know when it started, but I heard about it about 10 years ago, and it's gotten bigger ever since. I'm sure within the next 10 years, it will be a sport, on televised like the PGA and NFL and all that.
yeah,
Maybe within 5 years.
Interesting.
Yep.
currently in Stockton, they have tournaments, and they have parks where it's all set up kind of. So it's really cool.
Even here in
All right.
Washington, we've got regular parks that have put up courses. You know what I mean? There's one to go to the river, right? And you walk to the river. On the way to the river, you'll see the holes on the way to the river. So they just kind of just put it out in the middle of nowhere. You kind of get your guidance. It's a great thing. You don't have to pay, you don't have to pay to go play this sport. You just get your buddies together. You can drink and have beers. You know what I mean? It's good stuff.
All right, so let's get into the next conversation, and it's about our 4 finalist Hall of Fame finalists that could potentially go in. And do you guys know the names of the 4 candidates? I can let you know real quick if you all know. Let's get into it. We have Mike Shanahan. We have Mike Holmgren. We have George Seifert. And we have Roger Craig. So my question to the panel would be, which one is going to be left out? Because I believe there's only 3 that can be voted in or can go into the final vote.
Give me the names again.
Mike Shanahan, Mike Holmgren, George Seifert, and Roger Craig.
And Roger Craig, okay.
And this is going into the Football Hall of Fame?
Yes, this is the potential last final votes for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, well, Roger Craig is going to get snubbed. I can pretty much guarantee that. I don't know. Holmgren, I think Holmgren definitely deserves to go in there. Look at what he did in Green Bay, and look at what he did with the Seahawks. You know what I mean? Like, he definitely has the knowledge there. And not to say like overshadow his time in the 49ers, but he wasn't in his full form at that point. You know what I mean? He wasn't like impacting the play of the 49ers as much as, George Seifert or Bill Walsh.
So we'll go touch back on Roger here in a second, but since you jumped into Mike Holmgren, here's a picture of Mike Holmgren in the 80s. He was on our team back in the 80s. He was a quarterback coach, and there's Joe and there's Steve, and he's showing them the plays and running through some stuff with them. He was on our team until I want to say 1992, and then he went on to Green Bay where he got Brett Favre and Rocket Boy, Rocket Arm, and you guys all remember No More Rocket Balls, right? So Holmgren won a championship in Green Bay, took him to another Super Bowl, and then he ended up moving on to Seattle. He lost the Super Bowl there, but that was a very questionable Super Bowl. Even though it's the Seahawks, they didn't get what they deserved in that Super Bowl. Steelers got lucky. And then he went on his last seasons in the NFL. He was the president of the Cleveland Browns. So he's very smart, very intelligent, and I definitely believe he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
He's also a very nice guy.
Retired.
I know people that met him
Yeah.
at the grocery store, and he's always just very pleasant with everybody, gives them their time, and then he goes along with his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your thoughts, David McNiner? Do you have any thoughts on Mike Holmgren?
He was a longtime NFL coach. I think he's got one Super Bowl with being a head coach, right?
Yep, one for 3.
So, oh wow, 1 for 3.
Yeah,
oh, that's right. Green Bay went and lost one too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one that lost to the Broncos.
And I remember Seattle going and losing. But yeah, he's a good long-time NFL coach. Chances are he's going to make it. I mean, I honestly think Roger Craig will get snubbed again. and it sucks because he deserves to be there. There are running backs that don't have his numbers that are in there. Didn't do what he did for the league. He actually changed the running back position.
Yeah, which is so horrible why he gets snubbed every year.
What do you think, Corey? What do you think of Mike Holmgren?
He's a good coach. And I don't know. I know he used to be he was like you guys showing a picture of the quarter. He's coaching the quarter and Steve Young and Joe Montana. And I think that's why when he went to Green Bay, that's why it was so hard to beat him. Because he knew our system. Yes, he should make it to the Hall of Fame. But just don't put him, put my man Roger Craig in there too.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think, Beto? What's your thoughts on Mike Holmgren here?
He's a good coach, man. He's coached around. He comes from the Bill Walsh tree. Coached with us, then moved on and coach and won a Super Bowl. Or how many Super Bowls did he win?
1 out of 3.
That's right, 1 out of 3. I don't know. I just think Seifert won 2. Mike Holmgren Mike Shanahan won 2. Holmgren just won 1. Man, if it's just from the 3 coaches, I would say Holmgren would be out. And that way we can get our boy Roger Craig in there. Based on what he's done in the Super Bowls he has won, I think he would be out. But I like Holmgren. I think he's just a hell of a coach. It's just too bad he went and played for the 2 worst teams in Seattle and Green Bay. But other than that,
creamed us every year in the championship game.
Yeah, don't remind me, bro. Yeah, him and Brett Favre were like.
I forgot about the Cowboys for a good 10 years because I was always mad at the Green Bay Packers.
Bro, we won home field advantage in 95, 98 or something. I forgot what year. 97. Yeah, 97. We won home field advantage and we lost the divisional game to the damn Packers, bro. So yeah.
Yeah, they had our number. They had won 4 playoff games in a row before. Now we have the tie. I think we have the tiebreaker on that. I think it's 4-5. But anyways, the Niners and the Packers. That's a rivalry right there. The Eagles. I don't want to say that's a rivalry yet. But all right, let's move on to you guys were just saying. Let's jump to George Seifert. We'll start with Ryan. Your thoughts on George Seifert?
I would say Holmgren really deserves, on resume, probably deserves to be in the Hall of Fame more than Seifert. But as a 49ers fan, I mean, he's number 2 as far as coaches. Like and then there's a drop off. You know what I mean? Like even though there's a 3rd position, no one really is close to them yet. Like Kyle Shanahan, if he wins a Super Bowl, I would say he would be number 3 at that point, just, on stats, because you got Walsh 1, 3 or 4, Seifert with 1, and then you got Kyle Shanahan at
Seifert has 2.
Oh, sorry. But yeah. So it would be, the Super Bowl winners. I just don't think that just a Super Bowl win for Kyle Shanahan could bring him to the point of being close to Seifert, because I think Seifert was a complete coach. I think Kyle's more of an offensive mind.
You mean Mike?
Yes. Mike Seifert.
Mike Seifert. You nitwit.
Anyway, I think I'm a little baked right now. I just think that he's more of a coach than any other coaches we've had other than Bill Walsh. He's more of a complete coach. and he was extremely smart. People give him a little bit of shit saying he inherited a team, but he did inherit a team, but he kept it together and he kept it on the same track,
Yes, sir.
which is not something that people are always able to do. Because look at what was it? Didn't the Colts go to the Super Bowl and whatnot? They switched up the coach and then they were trash. And then Peyton Manning was gone, I believe. I'm not sure if all the time frames there, but it doesn't always compute. Just because you have a great team, it doesn't always carry over. And he essentially just kept the bar at the same level, held everybody accountable in the same way, essentially, and got the same production out of it.
Sorry.
Mr. McNider, what's your thoughts on Mr. George Seifert, our former coach, Super Bowl 2-time winner?
Well, that's exactly it. As he won 2 Super Bowls, he coached for 11 years, has a winning percentage of, I believe, 648. You know, it was with the 49ers, it was better though because he went to Carolina for 3 years, and I think he had one season that it really stunk. But with the 49ers, it was 766. So he literally won 3 out of every 4 games, you know, with us. And how do you beat that resume? You know, the whole 2-time Super Bowl winner thing too. I mean, yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Mr. Corey Davis, do you have any thoughts on George Seifert?
Yeah, they used to say about him, you know, in giving a winning Super Bowl team, you know, that was already Super Bowl players. But yes, it is keep them together, keep it going. He did a very good job at it. And then where I was going. But I'm wondering, could he rebuild a team, you know, put a team together? But yes, he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. I like the man. He was a good defense. He was our defense coordinator, right, too?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's a complete coach.
Yep. Yeah, he's our defense coordinator. He did a good job with our defense. Did he retire or we had to let him go?
We let him go. We fired him. We fired him after one loss in the playoffs. He lost to the Cowboys, I believe, and was it the Cowboys? I believe he lost to maybe it was the Packers, and they fired him because he went on to coach for Carolina, and they were in our division after that. You know, so we had to play against him like 2 or 3 seasons after that. So, Beto, do you have any thoughts on Mr. George Seifert, or would you like me to come back?
Okay, sorry, we're muted. I like George Seifert. He took over a team that was built by Bill Walsh, but he, to what Ryan alluded to, he kept it together. Players played for him, and then that 94 team he built on his own and won that game. I liked his coaching. I didn't like the fact that he couldn't stand Bill Walsh. Him and Bill Walsh could not get along at all. But coaching wise, very smart. People love playing for him. There's nothing that I can't say that I liked that I disliked about him. Man, there's an echo. Is it just me?
No, there's an echo.
Hold on.
But yeah, I liked him. I liked him as a defensive coordinator, and then unfortunately for him, once he went to Carolina, he was kind of downhill from there. But he did great with us. Great. I mean, he's been with us for a long time. He came to the Niners from Stanford in 1980 and didn't leave until 1996. 16 years in the Niners organization. That's a long time as a positional coach and then a head coach. So I like Seifert. I think Seifert should get the nod over Holmgren because he has that extra Lombardi.
Is the echo back?
No, I don't hear it no more.
Okay.
So did he get let go, Beto? I'm a little bit.
I didn't realize I was off camera. Sorry.
Did
He was
get
let go
because-
because they made a
Did he get
mistake. They got Mooch in there, and they wanted Mooch. They wanted to go younger, a younger mind. Back then, Mooch, when he came in, he was Kyle Shanahan of today in his era coming in, not as bright, obviously, but they wanted to go younger, and they wanted to go to different direction, and it was a mistake in my opinion. I love Steve Marucci, I love Mooch, but I think we would have won at least another championship if we would have kept Seifert. It's sad that they let him go.
Is it true, or am I, because I thought I read something, they let him go because he did lose that playoff game, and it was a mistake, but that's why they let him go. And I agree with you. He probably would have won another Super Bowl with the Niners. I really think he would have. Mooch was a good coach. Really, really, had that electricity about him. He came from Green Bay, and it was really kind of cool to see him come in, but he wasn't what we needed. He wasn't. So, okay, let's bring Steve-O in because he just popped up. Say hello to Steve-O. We're going to get on to our next topic. So, we'll give Steve-O a chance to talk on it.
What's up?
Morning, Steve.
Hey,
What's up, Steve?
we're talking about the 4 potential candidates that could get into the Hall of Fame. And
Who are the 4?
There's going to be 3 out of the 4. Yeah, we're talking about 4 of the candidates, and 3 out of the 4 can potentially be voted in. So out of these 4 that made it from this group, this first round, the 4 are George Seifert, Mike Shanahan, Mike Holmgren, and Roger Craig.
And how many can make
what
it
are your
in?
thoughts on 3 out of the 4?
Ooh. I mean, I like Holmgren. I mean, I know he only won 1, but I think he's better. I think he's better than Andy Reid, personally, even though he hasn't had the success. But George Seifert, I think Kyle Shanahan is kind of the Seifert of today in a way, because he changes up plays, every couple of weeks or whatever. Man, I guess I'd have to sit Roger Craig out.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's move on to our next one. We've talked about Holmgren. We've talked about Seifert. Now let's go to Mike. Mike. So another coach that has been on our team for a very, very long time, Mike Shanahan, who's also left our team and went on to have success in other portions of the NFL. He won a Super Bowl with us, and then he went on to win 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos, and then he went on to still coach in the league after that. And, it's maybe a small world, but he's still sitting in the 49ers organization right now. He has his own office at Levi's. So shout out to Mike, but I think his coaching days are over. I think he's just one of those, like assistants, one of those like positive role models, somebody that Kyle can lean on. Maybe just likes being able to go and see his dad every once in a while. But he's not our coach anymore. I think he's just one of those like executives. I could be wrong. If anybody knows Mike Shanahan's official title in the 49ers, and you want to put it out there, that'd be great. I'll try to look it up. So we'll start again with Ryan. Ryan, what is your thoughts on Mike Shanahan?
Mike Shanahan is affecting today's game of football even as we speak. There's lots of teams that run his style, his scheme of football, and there's lots of teams that run variations off of his scheme of football. So, I mean, he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? When you change the game even after you retire, you're a focal point. It's kind of like the same reason why I would attribute it to the same reason why we feel that Roger Craig should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Mike Shanahan should be in the Hall of Fame. And it's not because of his Super Bowl win. It's because of how he schemed up his offense, how he attacked defenses. It's still something that you have to look out for today. You can still use essentially his base scheme today. And that, 20 years later is crazy, especially how football changes. So I think he's a guy who's going to get in there. Like I said, I want Roger Craig to get in there. I just don't think that he will because of the bias.
Awesome. I like that. Let's jump to David McNiner. And real quick, Corey, how you doing?
Fine.
Doing okay, Corey?
Yep.
Okay. We just checking on you. Mr. McNiner, what's your thoughts on Mike?
Well, he was with us for, I think it was like 90 through 94, something like that. He started his career with the Raiders for some reason. But longtime Denver, Broncos head coach, was with Washington for, I think, 4 years. But, he's a 20-year NFL head coach with a winning percentage of .552, 2 Super Bowl rings. Yeah, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because not many coaches last 20 years. That's simply just how it is, right?
Yeah, he was on the team for a long time, and I believe you're right. He started with the Raiders. Steve-O, what's your thoughts on Mr. Mike? Kyle's dad.
Look, you're good when you're a casual fan, let's just say, and you can name, his quarterback, his running back, his receivers. That's when you had a pretty solid team. He's a multi-winner of the Super Bowl. I mean, like, let's cut the crap. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about injuries. I don't care who's our quarterback. Let's win one. Let Kyle Shanahan win one for his freaking dad before, you know what I mean? While he still has a chance to see it. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, that's the goal. For Kyle's dad to see him win one would be amazing to me. It means a lot.
I agree. I think that's a good point. That's a really good point. He's a good
This
coach.
Is why I have the beef. This is why I have the beef with a certain content creator because I think he's trying to get in between that, and like it needs to be about this, not that.
Yeah, and you nailed it. If you can look at somebody who's just like a casual fan, and they can tell you, oh yeah, John Elway and Mike Shanahan, or oh Terrell Davis, they're just a casual fan. They're not somebody that's like super into fantasy football or reads a bunch of articles. They just might watch a couple games through the season. You nailed a good point, Mr. Corey Davis. Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point too. Before we go on, McCaffrey, the Shanahans, McCaffrey was on the 49ers, Ed McCaffrey. He left the 49ers and went with Mike Shanahan and then won 2 more Super Bowls. They have 3 Super Bowls together. Then, CMC, Kyle was watching or babysitting or something, they were hanging out when they were younger. So then, just small world, they both make it on the same team. So that's a really small world. Mr. Corey Davis, what's your thoughts on sorry, Steve-O. What's your thoughts on Mike Shanahan?
Francis, thank you for asking me how I'm doing. I'll be making these faces because sometimes I get a little pain somewhere.
Yeah.
But I agree with Ryan. No Border Sports, said. So he said everything I was thinking of.
And Steve-O.
And Steve. Beto, do you have any thoughts on Mike Shanahan?
He's an interesting coach, man. I love I love what he did with us as an offensive coordinator. Um, I hated it when he went to Denver and won those championships in Denver. I think he could have did some great stuff with us. But what the thing he was able to get out of Steve Young and Joe Montana to bring the best out of them as their offensive coordinator was awesome. I mean, this guy really was able to change a lot of the way football was played from the quarterback position during that time with Joe Montana and Steve Young, and then with John Elway. I mean, he worked really good with running quarterbacks. He did it with Young. He did it with Elway. I think this guy deserves the Hall of Fame. Um, he deserves it. I mean, if out of the three guys, I mean, I hate that he didn't win Super Bowls with us. Seifert did, but out of the three coaches, I think Mike Shanahan is probably the best out of the three, resume wise. Other than he not winning it with us, but I think he's a great coach. I think he deserves to make it in, and I hope he does. I hope he gets in there and finally gets his Hall of Fame jacket, man. I think it looked good on him. You all right there, Corey?
No, I'm trying to. If Brian look like he's talking, but can't hear him.
Yeah, I muted the mic. I had the girls in the background. They're up. Everybody's awake. So Mike's been on the team a long time. He's been in the league for a long time. Has a lot of knowledge. I think everybody's kind of touched on this just a little bit. He's kind of revolutionized football, or maybe he's kept it the same. He's definitely one of those guys that runs the ball, and he's proven by running the ball you can win Super Bowls. You just have to have somebody who can deliver. So I would be very, very happy to see him get into the Hall of Fame. I think his son would like that. It'd be kind of neat to see him go in the Hall of Fame, and then the Niners win a Super Bowl in the same year, or back to back. So fingers crossed. All right, let's get into our last one. Okay, our last question is our last picture. We already kind of showed it, but we're going to jump back to it. And I think this one is the one we're all hoping for the most. It might not be realistic, but this is the guy we all kind of wanted the most, right? Superman.
Look at the eyes.
Yep, Mr. Superman. So, Ryan, why don't you go ahead and break this one off and start it out?
Well, I'll let David McNiner talk about all the stats and such, but he was such a truly gifted man and selfless and just wanted to see the team do better. And to me, it's not right that he has been shunned this whole time. What he did for the league made the game more exciting. It gave a new scheme of football to people. Once they had a player like him who had his abilities, they could do more on the field with what they had. He paved the way for so many guys to have a good career, and one of the best, in Marshall Faulk. Like, who knew that Marshall Faulk would have been such a good receiver if he didn't have somebody like Roger Craig to prove that running backs can be used in such a way and they can be just as talented as a wide receiver. And they're even deadlier because they're coming out of the backfield with a linebacker on them at times. So it's just not fair. And I'd like to see the man get his jacket and his bust.
Very well said. Mr. McNiner, what are your thoughts?
I think he's been snubbed for too long. Because he has done fantastic things for the running back position overall. The man changed the position. He was a thousand guy, and the fact that he played for us for 8 years, he was in the league for 11. Career wise, 8,189 yards. And it was just like, I mean, yards attempt 4.1, which that's not fantastic, but that ain't bad. And I honestly just think that the guy gets snubbed because a lot of people think it was that fumble that cost us the three-peat against the Giants. But that's one play in a whole game too, right? And that's just how I look at it, because there's always plays that could have went better that would have changed things. Very, very similar to our NFC Championship game and Shanahan not throwing the challenge flag on that catch on 4th down for the Eagles. Well, what they called the catch, but it actually wasn't. If that would have changed the whole dynamic of the game. But like I said, his fumble was just one play in a whole game. But he changed the running back position. He came in the 80s. He was on a pass first offense. He ran for 1,000 yards 3 times with us, actually hit the 1,500 yard marker with us in 1988. And I mean, receiving wise, it was, he was a beast. He only had 1,000 yards once, but he had 600 yards several times, 500, close to 500 yards several times too. And that's with Jerry Rice and John Taylor, Brent Jones. That's a tough thing to do. So he was what running backs right now in the league are long before they were meant to be that way. And that's why I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Nice. Real good points. Nicely spoken. And I don't think anyone here could have done it better. Ryan did really good as well. But let's throw it to Steve-O. Steve-O, I know you're going to take a crack at it. So what's your thoughts at Roger Craig, also known as Superman? Is he getting in? Is he going to the Hall of Fame?
Is he getting in? I don't know. I mean, like when I was growing up, Marshall Faulk was like the running back growing up. He was like Roger Craig, but he was like a lot more athletic. But my question is this, because obviously he deserves to be in. But my question is just like the same thing with the IR rule. Something like we can only take 8 guys back off of IR or some. Why is there a cap on how many players can get in the Hall of Fame? I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me. Why is there a cap? You know what I mean? Like, if you deserve to get in, get in. Or just like baseball, why is there so many years? You can only get voted so many times, and then you're not eligible anymore. I don't understand any of these rules. Like, you deserve to be in. Don't wait till the guy passes. Just let him in while he's alive.
I agree. It'd be horrible to see the guy get the recognition after he passes away. And I don't know the whole limitations to being voted in, how long you have. But I know there's 4 guys here, and their last game had been like 1998. There's 3 coaches that didn't play, so I think there might be a little difference there. I know all these guys retired for about 10 years now. I would want to say they've been retired for. So I definitely feel it. Let's go to Corey. Corey, what's your thoughts on Roger Craig?
I love me some Roger Craig. I love the high stepping, how he ran the ball with the knees, going up high stepping. And yes, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Stop punishing him for that fumble. There's a lot of people in the Hall of Fame that did that. There's one guy, he's a quarterback, but threw a whole bunch of interceptions. So Let this man in. He deserves it. I always wanted. That's probably my next jersey if I get 33. Roger Craig. I love Roger Craig.
I have to say something about this picture real quick, like though. That's like one of the best pictures I've ever seen of the guy. He's right now he's honed in, looking at whatever defensive player he's about to run over. You know, look at the look on his face.
Or he's saving up his energy. You know, he's about ready to boost in his energy to make the cut to get around somebody. You know what I mean? Like he's giving 100% of his focus.
All right, Beto, what's your thoughts? Roger Craig, you probably seen him, more than, well, I know you've seen him more than me. You've probably seen him more than Steve-O. Between David and Corey here, you probably are the three that can really talk the most on Roger Craig. So do you remember the stands, seeing Superman in the stands?
Do I remember seeing Superman in the stand?
Yeah, because there's a lot of pictures of number 33 in Candlestick Park, and the back not saying Craig on it, but saying Superman. So if I'm correct, his nickname for the team was Superman. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I got to take this phone call. I'm sorry, guys.
No worries. We'll come back to you. All right, so let's go ahead and take this picture down. So I'm going to start out because I'd like to hear all your guys' thoughts. We've had three players, one player, three coaches. And out of the four, you can only pick three. I'm saying Roger Craig gets in this time. Mike Holmgren's going to get in this time, and George Seifert's going to get in this time. No, that's my three. And we'll throw it down there to Corey, and then we'll bring it around to Steve-O, and bring it up to David and Ryan. Corey, who do you think gets in? Who's the three?
Roger Craig. I think Mike Holmgren. And Mike Seifert.
George Seifert.
I mean, George Seifert. I'm sorry.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so we kind of changed the panel a little bit around, but we're still going to go with Steve-O. We'll come across David, and we'll go to Ryan. Steve-O, out of your three, out of the four, who's making it?
All the coaches. Seifert
All the coaches?
revolutionized the game. I think Holmgren might be more of a popularity contest. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think he's, Roger Craig doesn't have, he's not a big, flashy, what I mean? And I'm just going to say that so I know I platform 642.
246?
No, he's 642 now.
Mr. McNiner, what's your three?
Well, when it comes down to it, I honestly think the guy's not getting in. It's probably between George Seifert because he coached for 11 years in the league, head coach. He was on assistants for many years, and Roger Craig, which is most unfortunate because there are running backs that don't have his resume that are already in, which just doesn't make sense. So I honestly think that all three coaches make it, and Roger Craig gets snubbed again. Shout out to the East Coast bias with all the people voting.
Ryan, what's your thoughts? You can vote any way you want. Who's the three that's going in from the four? It doesn't mean the fourth person is not going in. It just means they might.
I think out of everybody, Roger Craig won't get it. I think they're still gonna. They're still who's gonna hold the fumble against him when the fan base itself is like screaming for him to get into Hall of Fame? Like, if anybody has a reason to be mad at him, it'd be the fan base, and that we're all screaming that it's disgraceful that he's not in. So just put him the fuck in there, but they won't. Everybody that's mentioned deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. They shaped the way the game has been in some way or form, you know what I mean? They all have won Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know what I mean? Hey, Steve-O? Oh wait, no, that's Tommy. Know what I mean? Or you giving me shit for that too? I can't remember.
I think we all do. It's one of those fun little clicks that you do, you know what I mean? But it's what makes you special, right?
Know what I'm talking about?
You know what I'm saying?
So I think the reason, I'm clamoring, for Roger Craig, same thing as everyone else is here. I think he's the one that's been waiting the longest. I think he's, deserves it. And I think the other three, any one of the other three can probably wait. I think they can get voted back in. I think this might be Rogers. It could be one of his last chances to get in. So I know he's now in that senior category. He's not, a first, time Hall of Fame ballot candidate. So I really, fingers crossed, I'd like to see Roger Craig again in a Niners Super Bowl. That I would be happy. So, yeah. So
does anybody know why they cap it with?
I don't know why they cap it. I just don't think they can put everybody in the league at the same time. So I think they hold it to 10 players every season, or is it 15? I'll look that up. I think it's only like 10. Shout out Canton, Ohio. If you guys ever get to go there and check it out, that's a really cool place. Hall of Fame.
It's so stupid. There's no real reason to do it other than to be pricks and be able to exclude people.
I think it's partially the writers getting back at the players that don't really want to be there, like the Marshawn Lynch's of the league. I think that's their way of throwing their power around.
Okay, so between 4 and 8. So every year it's between 4 and 8 candidates. So I guess it just depends on the voting in the committee. I don't, again, you can't just throw players into the Hall of Fame because, you want to just throw somebody in there. They definitely have to have, contributions and, accolades to the game. Roger Craig, 3-time Super Bowl winner. He scored 3 Super Bowl. He scored 3 touchdowns in one game. 1,000-yard receiving and rushing. I mean, the guy's just, a beast. And now, not only, is he still like around football, but he goes to everything. He's like an ultimate, like, retired player. He's like friendly to everybody. Just don't see the hate for him, except for like what we all said, the fumble. So
how many times do you hear a guy who is up for being, or nominated, let's say nominated for being in the Hall of Fame, who you're like, oh, that's a horrible pick?
Never.
You don't. To me, when somebody gets nominated, essentially to me, that means you're going to get in there. It's just time. That's because they're always good players. That's how it should be. It should be just, look, once you're nominated, you're going to get in because obviously you're good enough to be put on with everybody else. You know what I mean? And there's other people who can't get on that list because they're not up to your level. So why not just, if you're nominated, you're going to be in. It's just when, the time frame thing,
And like when I was growing up, like Ronnie Lott, Steve Atwater were like the 2 big safeties of my time, right? Right next to that, I put John Lynch. How long did it take John Lynch to get in? He just got in, last year, the year before?
Yep. Some people get ushered to the front of the line. Other people have to wait till they die. And there's too much pressure on them. Or somebody dies. I swear they get together and they get clicks. And then because we're friends, you can't vote for that guy to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Because he did something wrong to me. Which is ridiculous.
I think there's a lot of East Coast bias when it comes to who's voting for the Hall of Fame. And if you're a West Coast player that's, doesn't have the eye-popping career stats, which, Roger Craig, what he did, changing the running back position, in my opinion, he deserves to be in. And he does have pretty better stats than some running backs that are already in. And I just, I just seriously think it's East Coast bias. He played on the West Coast.
Well, even like position groups, like, do you think Russell Wilson might get in the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
Hmm.
Do you think Russell Wilson has had a better career than what Roger Craig did in his time?
No.
No, that's arguable. That
I
really
think
is.
it's quarterback versus running back, so quarterback wins.
But when
Yeah.
you look at what Roger Craig did, though, like, you know what I mean? He gained over 1,000 yards on the ground and 1,000 yards through the air. That's like a quarterback throwing for like 4,000 yards and running for 1,000 in a season. That's crazy. Or to me, that's where I would put that. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys would be a little different. You know, we could be around the numbers, I'm guessing. But yeah, that's crazy stats. So to me,
I think what Steve said is a good point. Quarterbacks tend to seem to go into the
Mhm.
Hall of Fame a little bit easier. I think they probably have the easiest route, and then maybe wide receivers. We could go down the list from there, but running backs, there's a lot of good running backs, but not every one of them go into the league. And yeah, I mean, like you look at somebody like Terrell Davis, 2 Super Bowl rings, right? Roger Craig has how many? Roger Craig played for how many years? He played 8 years for the 49ers. Then he went on to play for the Raiders and the Vikings. He played, on good football teams and contributed. So for somebody like him, like his statistics compared to somebody like TD, I mean, like that was a great highlight film. Like he's got a migraine and they just need him to go out there and act like he's playing because they'll count him down if he's not on the field. Okay, but Roger Craig still put up 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in 1 year. Did TD do that? So I would have to say, you got to kind of look at some of the jewelry, right? That's why we play the game. So even if you're a quarterback and you don't have the biggest statistics and stuff like that, if you got more rings, I think you kind of deserve to get into the Hall of Fame. I think that's why Eli's going in. Or did Eli already go in? Eli Manning?
He better not get in. He better not get in.
I think
he
he'll
will.
get in.
He will.
Yep, because he's got those rings. So
I'm not okay with that.
And he's a quarterback. And
Yep.
he was in New York. He's
East
like
Coast
checking
bias.
all the boxes. Yeah, he's checking all the boxes to just walk in there. Plus, look at who his brother is. You know what I'm saying? It's the family thing too.
Hey,
Oh,
Beto,
no.
I'm glad you're back. We're gonna go ahead and give you the last question. Everybody else was able to speak on this.
Sorry,
Out of the
yeah,
four-
I had to take a business call. Apologies.
No worries. I'm again glad you're here, and we got a lot of people. We can always mute and ask questions to everyone else. And the last question is really it's an opinion. Out of the 4 that we discussed, George Seifert, Mike Shanahan, Mike Holmgren, and our boy Roger Craig. If you could pick 3, what's your 3 that's gonna go into the Hall of Fame or continue the voting process, and who would you have sit back for this time?
It would be Roger Craig going in. It'll be Seifert and Shanahan, and the one that I would have sit back would be Mike Holmgren.
I could see that happening. I think Holmgren still will have a chance. I think he just might have to wait a little longer. I like that. And with that, guys, does anybody have any other thoughts or anything else that they would like to say about the Robbie Gould situation or the Hall of Fame situation? Okay.
What Robbie Gould situation?
Well, I would like to tell everybody. Well, Robbie Gould apparently has come out, and now there's been some talk with Matt Maiocco that he potentially wanted to come back, but the Niners didn't offer him a contract. So the Niners basically let him walk. And you remember back in January and February when I was talking, and I said Robbie Gould said there's unfinished business. He's coming back to the team. Well, he thought there was unfinished business, but the Niners said no, business here is we're gonna go ahead and let you go. So what's your thoughts? Do you think it was a bad decision the Niners moved off of Robbie Gould, or do you think it's just it's time? It's time. Season's just changing, and he's just getting older.
I mean, I think he deserves a ring. So I wouldn't have mind of giving him one more year to get that ring. He deserves a ring. You know, it's hard to say a kicker deserves a ring, I guess. But the only thing I didn't like is like we traded a fifth or some pick for Zane Gonzalez. I know he's coming off injury, 2 injuries or whatever. But that's why I didn't like the draft pick so much because I thought we solidified that. You know, that's my only beef with the whole situation is, I mean, but we get late round picks, like, you know, we fought those, so it's not a big deal to me.
Just to let you know, bro, that if Gonzalez doesn't sign with the team, doesn't make the 53, that draft pick that we gave is not valid. We keep that draft pick. He has to make the 53 in order for us to give it away. If he doesn't make it, then we don't give it away.
And then it was still like
a seventh round pick swap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big deal, but you know, I thought we solidified that for the draft. But hey, they hedged their bet basically, you know. So can't go wrong with that.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and end early, guys. It's always fun to come on and talk. Sometimes we can go a little longer. Sometimes we need to end a little earlier. I'm actually going to work today. I'm going to have some little overtime, and I'm going to go make the world a little bit prettier of a place. I'm going to paint something and make it a little bit more beautiful. So I'm going to head out, guys, and I appreciate you guys all coming. Hopefully everybody was able to enjoy the conversation, had a nice cup of coffee or, you know, something nice to, you know, wet your whistle with. We do this every Saturday, Sunday. Appreciate having people come on as a panel. If you ever want to be a part of the panel, just reach out to me and we'll try to get you on. And if you ever have questions and you're in the comments, try to just ask and we'll try to get to them. We've had a lot of good people, CarCast, Bebop, you know, Platform, David Corona, I see you, Crazy Juice, thank you so much, John J, Tommy Huxley, the GOAT, I'm so sorry, Camel with 2 humps, don't forget that. We have Deanna, you know, again, Big Mac Sports, you know, great guy. We keep going up. We can keep going up. But I tell you what, thank you, everybody. Damian Lee, you know, the force is strong with him. You guys know that. And, you know, it's just one of those things. Really, really appreciate it. You guys like coming in the morning and talking. You know, not everything has to be super aggressive or super, you know, our opinions can differ. But the most important thing is we want to have cool vibes, start the show off and start the day off right. So, again, thank you guys for coming in. You guys are always best. And with that, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my guys on the panel. Everyone here's got a YouTube channel or does something on YouTube, and we appreciate you. And with that, guys, go Niners, and we'll see you. Man, thank you for coming, neighbor. With that, we're going to be out. Go Niners.
Go Niners and F the line.
Peace.